PC Perspectives coverage of the 2014 Consumer Electronics Show is brought to you by AMD and the next generation A-Series APU. Hey everybody, welcome to the PC Perspective podcast. It's CES Day 2.
Day 2.
Day 2. Everybody
Wait.
had a great day except Josh.
It was third day.
Well,
It's the second podcast.
Well, yeah.
And the first day we didn't do one. So it's Day 2.
That was day 0.
Yeah, we didn't do a Day 0 podcast. We'll start with that. So everybody had a good day but Josh. What happened, Josh?
I was an idiot.
Yeah, but what happened different?
I set my camera down, and then I walked away from it.
were you taking selfies in the bathroom again?
I was not. This time.
Poor Josh. It's okay. We'll get past it. We'll move on together
Thanks.
as a group. So we had some interesting stuff to talk about today. Let's start with Alan. You went to go see Seagate in LaCie.
I did.
All right. And how many amazing news posts do we have to discuss about? Like 1,000?
Up yet so far?
Yeah.
0.
That sucks.
That's unfortunate. We'll tell everybody what they will eventually be
It
able
was
to
kind
read.
of a busy day. So let's see. Seagate had some pretty cool looking, very super thin hard drives, like 5mm
What's that beneficial for?
thin hard drives.
Just thinner form factor laptops?
Well, they showed a demo of one sitting in an 8-inch tablet,
Okay.
and it was a 500 gigabyte hard drive, which is kind of
Yeah.
cool to have in a tablet, right?
They had a poker chip next to it.
Yeah, that was my doing. Sorry.
You had that poker chip with you?
No, I stole it from one of their press people because they're press people and they're rich. They walk around with $100 poker chips.
I'm press
Did you
people
take
and
it?
I'm not rich.
Did you take it after you took the picture?
I should have. I tried. Also looked at. Well, these have been out for a while, but the 3.5-inch hybrid drives.
Okay.
Like we've looked at all their 2.5-inch models and published on them, but just not 3.5.
These
inch
have
yet.
more cache?
Nope. Same.
Cache.
8 gig? 8 gig?
Same 8 gig,
8
but
gig.
um,
Fine.
it was originally more like an OEM kind of thing because the OEMs liked what the other hybrid was doing for cost per gig, and so you had like Dell and other people asking, "Hey, we want this in the desktop
4
form
terabytes.
factor." Yeah, so they're going to make a 4 terabyte.
How much
4 terabyte
flash does that have?
hybrid.
It's still only 8 gig.
Why don't they go above that?
I think their controller can only handle 8 gig. Or something like that.
That's
That's
an
kind of
issue.
my hunch. But I will say this though: if you're just doing typical desktop-y kind of things, like not going crazy, then most of it's going to be in the cache. Like Windows
Yeah,
boot
it
and like
just-
Office and
Or
like
games,
checking
bro.
email. If you're doing games, then yeah, it's
We had this problem with our PS4 testing.
yeah, it's true.
8 gigs is not enough, man.
It's not enough, but I don't think they're marketing to
Wait,
crazy
don't-
power users.
Don't they have like weird OEM enterprise drives that have like 32? So shouldn't the controller handle it?
They do have enterprise drives that do that. I think you're right.
Yeah,
Because when we did that PlayStation 4 storage story, people yelled at us for not testing
not
those, and I
using
was like,
that.
well, they
The
don't-
drives that don't exist.
yeah, they're kind of
Yeah.
pricey and stuff. The SSDs were the same ones that they've had so far. They didn't launch anything new. Let's see here. There's a Backup Plus Slim drive that they have. It's kind of like a spiffy looking backup solution. They also have a 4 terabyte version.
4 terabyte of this is an external USB.
This is an external USB
base
3.
drive. Okay.
Just kind of like one of those little 2.5-inch kind of backup units. Except this
Right.
one was like twice the thickness because it has 2 hard drives in it in RAID 0. I don't know my comfort
Okay.
level on a RAID 0 for a backup. But,
Is it really backup or is it?
It's meant for backup.
It's called Backup Plus.
Well,
It's backup plus.
If it's your second copy, then it's a backup.
Yeah, I guess if it's second copy, yeah. I'm just hoping,
RAID isn't backup.
yes, they're calling it a backup, but you get people that will buy these and they will use them as their
like their
primary
only
large
external
storage.
source.
Yeah, and then
That's a bad idea.
yeah.
Don't do that.
They had some enterprise stuff that I was looking at. They have a kind of like a NAS, 4-bay NAS that's sort of like Western Digital's NAS, solutions, that kind of thing, or basically anybody's NAS solutions. But it has this different kind of offsite backup, like standard. I'm trying to remember what the name of the
So
standard
it's like
was.
a service they offer.
No. This little
That blue
it's a
cartridge.
little blue
thing?
cartridge. This is like a cartridge format that's
Yeah.
called a USM slot.
Okay, sure. Makes no sense. So
And
far.
it's
Go ahead.
basically a SATA drive inside of this special cartridge thing, so it just everything lines up properly when you plug it in.
Ultrasonic motor.
No, I don't know. No, not Canon. But I guess it's like a standardized format of a cartridge kind of thing. So that if you do have offsite backup and you're swapping discs with this to juggle them offsite, then you just have a convenient case to hold it with. So in theory, you would have, the one cartridge would be in this unit holding the supercritical stuff, and you'd have another one that would be like moved offsite, and you would swap them occasionally, and it would resync over, that kind of thing. Okay. I don't know. So it's more, so their NAS, the Seagate NAS stuff is way more enterprisey than the other people's NAS stuff.
Less consumer
basically.
oriented.
Yeah, less consumer oriented. They also had a 1U rack that usually can only hold, like 1U can only hold one row of hard drives. So if you want to make
4 drives, 2 and 3.5 inch drives.
Yeah, it's usually only 4 3.5 inch drives, especially if you want to hot swap them, right? Because the cartridges, they come out the front, right? This unit, which we'll have a picture of, they somehow
we'll have a picture.
We'll have the picture up.
They can't see the picture,
right?
But you can
trust us.
Yeah, trust us for now. Basically, you can slide this 1U chassis out and pop the lid open while everything's running, and they built it in such a way that you can pull tabs on all 8 drives. There's 8 drives, not 4.
Okay.
And you can hot swap them out of the top while everything's running without powering it down.
How has no one done that before?
Nobody's done that before. I've never seen anybody do that before. So they did that.
That's pretty cool.
And also, it's 1U with 3 fans mounted at the back. The 1U fans that you love so much.
I love them. They're my favorite.
Right, but here's the thing. Those I could barely hear.
They go wee.
Nice. That seems to be a thing.
So they are actually, throttling them the proper way.
Cool.
And those are also hot swapped. You can just grab one of them and pull it out, and you put it back in
fans.
there. Yeah, the fans. And then that's the only time they actually get loud is when you first plug it back in.
In reality, all fans in your case are hot swap.
Well,
I've unplugged fans and plugged them in live.
Sure, but this is
don't
like
try that and blame me.
But this is like a simple. It's like a simple. It's one cartridge unit. You could literally within 1 second you could swap.
Some of the Dell servers that we've used in the past have had really, really cool and convenient
service is so cool for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That so they actually won an award, a CES award, innovations
Great, awesome.
for design.
Everybody gets an award. What else?
Yeah, pretty much. There's a thing called Seagate Central. I don't know if we've really covered a whole lot.
Nope.
Because I hadn't seen much press come across on it. So there's a box. Looks like more of a set-top box kind of thing. It's meant to sit in your entertainment center. And it has a 3.5 inch hard drive in it.
We're not laughing at you. Keep going.
So it's like a really low profile kind of box, has a hard drive in it that's sort of mounted sideways in there.
Yeah.
And the idea is it's just kind of, it's supposed to act like a media server, but it's a media server to they had a couple of TVs above this display, and one of them was a Samsung Smart TV. So apparently there is a Seagate app for media streaming off of that device. So it's sort of like a Xbox Media Center style thing, but it actually looks pretty snazzy though. It gives you icons for all of your, whatever movies you have on there. It looks up in the background what the cover art would be for that thing, and it just kind of populates it and makes it look snazzy and stuff like that.
Sure.
You would make it really useful?
Yeah.
If it was just running Plex.
Well, true. But apparently they
custom stuff.
Yeah.
The new thing they started was it'd be kind of a bummer if you didn't have a Samsung Smart TV.
Yeah.
Right. So they now are working with Roku, and they have a Roku app. So it basically does the same kind of front end, and now it doesn't matter what TV you have. You just plug that in, right? There's a thing called a Wireless Plus, which is basically 2.5 inch form factor wireless.
Man, you got a lot of crap to write out.
Drive. Yeah. There's a lot of crap. So there it is, like 2.5 inch little.
Yep.
Right. Then there's LaCie. So right after you get to the Seagate Wireless Plus thing, LaCie kind of one-ups them. And they have a thing called LaCie Fuel, which they just announced I think this morning or yesterday afternoon or something like that. So this is a slightly larger than 2.5 inch form factor drive, but it's 1 terabyte. You can have 5 devices connected at once, streaming media off of it at once, right? It has its own battery. The battery will run for 10 hours. Okay. Connects over USB 3 and charges USB 3. So if you want to like get media onto it quickly, that kind of deal, right?
Okay.
And their app that connects, that reaches back and streams the media off of the WC, lets you do AirPlay and everything else to, Apple TV and whatnot, right? So you can basically sort of bounce the media through an iOS device out to an Apple TV,
Okay.
right? That kind of deal. WC usually goes more Apple.
Sure.
Right.
But that device is black, not white.
So there's an Apple
Sure.
TV.
That doesn't count.
So the kind of the cool thing I saw with this is, they kind of tailor it more for traveling. So imagine you're in a hotel room and you're like, okay, we want,
All right.
we
I'm
want,
with you so far.
just
Hold
like
on.
now, right? You could
Yep.
have a hard time picturing it, I know, but all right. So now you have all the guys want to connect to this and stream
Maybe
media.
maybe you all took pictures at different
Yes.
locations.
Yes.
And you wanted to share all those
And you wanted to
pictures.
stick them all on a device, so you're doing that, right? But then,
If only somebody we would use one of
but
those.
usually what would happen is if you all wanted to connect to this device, you would all switch your Wi-Fi over to this
Right.
hotspot.
Yep.
But then you don't get the internet.
That's not correct.
There are devices that pass
Device
through.
There are
the
some that
Corsair
do pass
Corsair
through.
device does it.
Corsair
It doesn't
passes
pass through. Yeah.
Okay, this passes through too.
Okay.
So there you have it.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
How many more pictures do you have there?
I got a couple more.
Okay. It's not
This
like
one's
it's not like
interesting.
15 more.
This is actually a
Because
pretty good one.
we're still on the first meeting of the day.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. What's interesting here?
We'll see Little Big Disc Thunderbolt 2.
Little Big Disc Thunderbolt Disc. Little
Thunderbolt 2.
Big Disc Thunderbolt 2.
Yes. So they sandwiched two M.2
PCIe.
PCIe solid state drives.
Which, if you don't know what they are yet, if you go to PCPro.com,
Yes,
Alan
yes,
wrote a little post
definitely
about
go.
updating you what M.2
yeah,
is.
M.2. We got a good post on that. They sandwiched two of those and Thunderbolt controller card RAID 0,
Yep.
right? And so this thing does like 1.4 gig per second throughput.
Cool.
So pretty snazzy. And they actually had one apart for us to take a look at, and most of the inside of the thing is a heatsink, and on top of that, it has a fan as well, because apparently, like moving that much
something
data
gets hot.
around kind of gets
sucks.
hot.
Oh, good. It has two Thunderbolt ports.
Yeah, it has two.
Is that a
yeah, it does
pass-through?
it does pass through.
Okay.
Yeah, they kind of sandwiched like everything in there, and yeah, that kind of deal.
All right.
And that's pretty much the bulk of it. There's a couple other we'll see things that are more trinkety than storagey, but
You just wanted to take a picture.
that's actually a 1 terabyte external drive, but it's a Chrome.
It's a Chrome ball.
It's
Is that a
basically
space
it's-
helmet?
It says it right
No.
there. Crimple? Crayola.
It's no. It's
Christophia.
yeah. There's these guys that do like really high end kind of polished.
Yeah, I see Alan in that picture.
Polished metal. Yes, he is. As I had to back up, and you can still see me in the thing. It's pretty cool. Anyway,
On to
it's
the
we'll
next-
see. They have Porsche designed hard drive cases and
Who
stuff.
gives a
so
shit about that? That's dumb.
well, anyway.
I don't like. I guess it's cool that it looks like Hal sitting on your desk, but
It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
so that was Seagate and LaCie.
That was Seagate
I didn't
and
know they were the
LaCie.
same company, but they are now.
Well, the
that
press
happen last year?
The press is combined for both, I guess, at least at a minimum.
They were. Oh, okay. All right.
But the LaCie uses all the Seagate stuff in their stuff.
Well,
stuff in their stuff?
A lot of
They got stuff in
people
their
use
stuff.
Hey,
Like
Josh
bits?
is here.
They got
They
Bing
use
on
their
there.
bits in their stuff.
They got
a lot
Bing
of
on their
people
things.
use Seagate in their stuff,
True.
and they're not
Seagate
Seagate.
owns them.
Yeah, all of them now. So the second thing we went to was the ASUS press conference, and it was exciting.
$3.99.
Was it? What was $3.99?
As Ken reaches over to turn down Josh's volume.
Yeah.
Well, Josh finally
you.
decided to wake up and participate.
Thank you.
Don't yell in the microphone.
Come on, it hurts Ken's ears.
Yeah, well, everybody who's listening to.
Well, that too.
No, because they'll hear a
So
better
ASUS
version.
had several things they announced. They announced a Windows and Android 4-in-1, which means it's an Android tablet and a Windows tablet and an Android laptop and a Windows laptop. And it has both operating systems running on Bay Trail in the machine. You hit a button on the keyboard and it will switch between the two operating systems. I don't know if it puts it in standby, like,
How quick did it switch?
well, in the video.
They
it
said
switched
4
great.
seconds,
4 seconds. There you go.
which is half the boot time of Windows 8, but that's in a whole nother thing.
But it could be just putting
Standby.
it into standby. Or,
No, I'm saying that's kind of a long time because you could boot Windows 8 in about twice that time, right?
But that's twice the time.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe.
You switch in half the time.
What was that
I
price?
want to see it in person.
What was the exciting part? Was the $5.99? No, was that what it was?
I don't know.
Why would you need to switch so quickly to Android? Like, why?
Why would you want to not switch quickly?
Why'd you want to switch slowly?
Why would you need to switch? Period.
Why
Well,
would
no,
you want
That's my
a
biggest
different-
issue.
That's a different
Yeah.
question.
But, you know, people like the Android.
People who want to have an Android device and a Windows device,
Okay.
and they want it to be one device. So when you're on a plane, you can take your tablet device and go like this and have like a really cool game action, and then
And
when
be elbowing the people
when the
next to
flight
you?
attendant comes by and you're embarrassed because she saw you playing Angry Birds,
Then you go
hit
back
the
to
button
Office.
you can
and it goes back to Office.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can
Got it.
grin sheepishly at her.
Yeah, it's like I was just working
Make
on
dough
these
eyes
financial documents the whole time.
Ken, that is not sheepish.
Battery like lasts twice as long on Android.
I don't know that either,
Oh.
but it should. In theory, it should, but I don't. But I'm not 100% sure. They announced a bunch of phones. Most of them are coming to the U.S. At least not right away. They announced a partnership with AT&T with the Pad Phone X,
Qualcomm based.
Qualcomm-based Pad Phone X. That's a 5-inch phone that has a 9-inch tablet
Doc.
dock.
Yeah.
Right? But it's not the same 5-inch phone that the Zen phone is, which is a little bit dumb, but it's obviously different markets, and I don't know. So
All the Zen phones were based on Intel.
they were all based on Intel, and I think Clover Trail Plus. Maybe Bay Trail.
They said Bay Trail.
but the model number that they showed in all their benchmarks was the 2560.
Yeah,
the 2000 series is Clover Trail Plus.
Yeah.
The 3000 series is Bay Trail.
I'll have to get some
Or
clarifications on that.
Merrifield, or that's what that would be
Yeah.
called. But so more stuff to be answered about that. They also had, what else did we see? Oh, they announced the PG278Q or G, PG278Q.
G. It's not a Q. I don't think it's a Q.
No, it's like PG and PQ.
PG and PB.
Shh.
PB&J.
Yes, I think
gonna-
you're right.
They announced the ROG Swift.
278Q.
Okay, there you go.
Asus ROG Swift display. This is 120 hertz, 2560 by 1440 monitor that actually supports NVIDIA G-Sync technology. So that's all cool. It's a TN panel, or was it
TN.
the in between?
No, it's TN.
It's TN
Oh,
panel.
isn't it?
No, they wouldn't
the-
tell us what it
I
was.
think the
No.
4K was the other.
No,
You think it was this one
I
too?
think the 4K is the TN, but they won't tell us what this
That's
is.
what I just said.
No,
But this is gonna be $799, and that seems. And the initial reaction was that seems pretty steep.
I saw one of the other G-Sync panels,
the Philips.
the Philips one, the bigger one, the 24-inch.
Well, this is 27, but okay.
Right. But it was 1080p, but 24-inch, and I was expecting it to be like all TN panel. It probably looks just like the other Asus one, and that other panel looked much better.
So you can
that
get
one-
better quality TN.
Right, so that will probably
It probably
be a better
is.
quality
It probably
panel.
is. 799 is still pretty steep. I guess so. If you buy 25 by 14 panel today, what do you buy that for? $500? $400?
For someone like Asus, 556 maybe.
$550. So now you're getting a 120 hertz panel instead of a 60 hertz panel without anything else, right?
Big
So that's
difference.
going to be an increase in cost, and then you're getting G-Sync, and that's going to be an increase in cost. So, like, I understand where they think they're justified in their pricing, and it may be okay. Again, you're talking about a display. This is something that you probably will be. This is the most important output device on your computer. Right, you're gonna. This is where the majority of your attention is, not on the keyboard, not on the mouse, not
Sure.
on the speakers. It's on a panel, so you want to make sure you're getting, something that you're going to be happy with. I'm eager to get these in and use it.
Yeah, I'd wanna see
next
it.
to the 1080p. That
We
I
saw
already
it today.
have
It
with
looks
G-Sync.
great.
It looks
Like-
great, yeah, and it's got a nice thin bezel on it.
Yeah, and it's not like dead up to the panel isn't dead up to the bezel. It's pretty close, right?
Yeah,
It's pretty thin.
yeah. And they say that'll be available in Q2. They also had. They announced another monitor, the PB287Q. So don't get those confused. PG278 is the 27-inch monitor. PB287Q is the 28-inch monitor.
Can we just
So the
elect
G
to call
was
it?
for G-Sync. I get it.
Sure, I guess, or gaming.
Can we elect to call the other one the ROG Swift? Always.
ROG Swift.
Sure.
This is the PB287Q. This is a 28-inch 4K gaming monitor.
And the B stands for broke?
Business? I don't know.
Badass.
Must be.
So it's a 28-inch 4K panel. It is not IPS. It is a something else. It's something in between TN, IPS.
Okay.
We have many guesses. They didn't really tell us. Something we find out later. 3840 by 2160, and it does support 60 hertz. So we had questions of the Lenovo one, and I'm guessing the Lenovo one and this Asus panel using the same
Dell.
screen and the Dell. So I finally talked with somebody who said, yes, this will support 60 hertz through multi-stream transport, DisplayPort multi-stream transport.
Okay.
It's still using 2 scalers inside. Eventually, they plan to replace it with a new chip coming out in late Q2, maybe
Which is
Q3.
like HDMI 2.
No, it's just a single scaler that can handle all the bandwidth.
Okay.
Right. So then that will be the advantage there. But so now knowing that this is a 60 hertz panel, and it's $799, you have 2 monitor options from Asus now that are pretty compelling. You got a 4K panel at 28 inches, and you've got a
60 hertz.
27-inch at 60 hertz, right? And you got a 27-inch, 120 hertz G-Sync panel, the same price. And it was an interesting kind of like mental exercise of which one would I actually recommend to people at that point. And I think I just need to see them, right? Like I need to see, because I've got the PQ321 4K. It's a little bit bigger, but it's an IPS. It's a really, really high quality screen. This is a much less expensive panel. And so I want to know if it feels different running at that resolution.
You know what's kind of annoying?
Well,
If you were going to
Josh?
game at 4K, then you would really, really want G-Sync.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
your
because
frame
that's-
rates aren't going to be very high.
Right. So
Right.
you would really, really, really want
And
G-Sync.
but you'd want it more on 25 by 14 than you would on 19 by 10 as well.
Sure.
Right. So it just as you go up, it will be that way. What do we see anything else at Asus? What else did they have?
Poseidon.
We saw Poseidon, which was a GTX 780 graphics card that had a hybrid water cooler. It has the barbs for a custom water cooling kit, or it had an air cooler. The air cooler is a little bit less efficient than the direct CU2, but otherwise is very, very similar. Still a dual slot card.
So if you water cool it, does it like kill the fans or something? Or
I imagine the fans still run. You could probably maybe turn them off in software.
no?
But they had the Asus ROG front base dual bay gaming panel. And this is like a fancy
Fan controller. Yeah.
It's got fan controller, temperature monitoring, all that kind of stuff you would expect. It also has audio header on it, input and output, and it's got equalizer built into it. It's got a USB port. It's got a boss button, which is you push a button on the front panel, and it minimizes your game and takes you back to the desktop without crashing it. So it's like, and then Josh recommended that they reintegrate, bring up a spreadsheet
Yeah.
to it. That way it's like, oh, this is just working, blah, blah, blah.
Said boss, but I thought it like spawned some kind of a boss
Right.
or
No, I
something.
kind of purposely made it vague until I explained it. That was
Yeah,
that
nice.
was to draw
nice.
people in.
It looks like a spiffy car dashboard.
It's
kinda
okay.
thing.
The interface wasn't great. Like the way you have to you got to hold the button down for 3 seconds to
No.
activate this.
Yeah.
Then turn the
Touchscreen would've
dial,
been a
then click
lot
it again,
nicer.
and then adjust it. It was a little bit clunky.
Of course, you're not going to be adjusting your fan speeds all the time.
Then why have a fan speed controller?
Well, the readout is nice.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. All right.
What else are you going to do with those 2 5.5-inch bays?
It's true.
5
Nobody uses that
1/4
crap.
Put a hot swap braid chassis.
That's
in it?
only you.
That's only me. Sorry.
So we talked about the Duet, the Transformer Book Duet TD300. That was the 4-in-1. They released a mobile LED projector you can read about. Which
There
is
was a
odd.
few of those.
The Asus Thunderbolt EX2 expansion card. This will actually come out.
It's gonna happen.
They swear that it's actually
It's gonna plug into all those motherboards that they said it was going to
Yes.
plug into.
Only this is Thunderbolt 2, so it's better-ish.
But it still uses the same header pins as the
Yep.
older motherboards.
Yep.
Oh,
Should
wow.
work. G77 forward with the TV header.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It could be very cool.
How much is it?
I don't know. $40. At least the last one was.
Somewhat. That's decent.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm okay with that price of an upgrade.
It's better than paying the $40 premium on
Yeah.
the motherboard from the beginning, and then you're just gonna have to do it again and
Yeah.
again every time you upgrade the motherboard. You can just move this card over,
True.
right?
Yeah, you could. So that covers basically what Asus had. Cool stuff there. They also showed that SATA Express motherboard.
No new information.
Yeah.
Z87. No new information on it, but they had it there. We had a little video of that we'll have up later. And then so that was Asus. Who did you go see after that? It starts with an S.
Samsung.
Okay. Oh, you went to the press event with the Michael Bay issue.
Oh.
Did they say
Yeah,
anything
they-
about components?
Components?
Yeah.
No.
Awesome.
Next.
TVs,
Yeah, I don't really
and
care.
then like the tablets and stuff. Like here, Galaxy Note Pro and Galaxy Tab Pro.
What makes them pro?
They're just gonna keep throwing on names
it's a
on the end, aren't they?
12-inch tablet.
That's kind of getting beyond tablet.
kinda big.
but Yeah.
Well, but they did some interface tweaks so that you can split the screen 4 ways.
Oh boy, Samsung interface.
I know. As soon as everybody in the room's gonna like. I don't know, but yeah, they didn't show any watches. They showed
Aw.
some smart home stuff. They showed some appliances. They showed some.
They show the T1000 fridge again.
There wasn't a T1000 fridge. They had they had chefs. They brought chefs in and said, "What exactly do you want the fridge to do?" So they made it different compartments do different temperatures for different specific things and cool stuff like that.
And Michael Bay was there, so that was exciting.
And Michael Bay
You
was
should
on
look at-
stage for a whole.
You guys should look at that video
I don't
because
know.
that
30
is
seconds.
He was on
awful.
stage just long enough to prove that he is not an actor.
Freaked out.
Yeah, he
Freaked
just
out.
basically just wigged out and left. And
Oh well, none of us could do that. So there's that.
I do it at QuakeCon every year.
the curved TV thing was kind of cool.
Don't look at me like that.
It was kind of a steep curve on TV.
You went to see Digital Storm,
I did.
Josh. Owa.
Yes.
They were showing off their Steam machine.
Yeah, it's called the Bolt 2. This is actually a neat little small form factor machine based on a Z87 ROG motherboard from Asus. It can go up. I mean, the thing is small. It's also got integrated into it a Corsair H100i, self-contained water unit. It can handle a dual slot large graphics card.
Large.
It can also, take upwards of a i7 4770K. They've got a special cooling and lighting control module that they integrate in.
Ooh,
So you
module.
can do all kinds of fun things with that. But it was a beefy machine, and it's got an integrated 700 watt power supply. And the
700 now.
thing
Okay.
is it's only 1.5 inches, 2 inches high.
The
It's
power
got-
supply?
Yeah, it's got one of those.
Is it a
you know,
1U power supply?
Yeah, it's got one of the sticking 30 millimeter fans that you would think would be exceptionally loud,
This was
but
not.
it wasn't. Yeah, they did a
They're
lot of
getting better at
engineering
that.
on this.
They're getting
The chassis was easy to access from all sides. You could remove a couple of screws, take out the hard drive cage, a couple of screws, remove the graphics card. About the only thing that would be kind of hard to get to would be the optical drive, which is kind of more integrated in. But it was a solid product. It starts at $1,500, goes up a little past $2,500. When the Steam OS comes out in full, they will. I think they're planning on kind of a dual boot, Win 8, and then Steam OS, and they will be including a Steam controller. With it as well.
Yeah, so I heard that from all the partners at the Valve press conference that Ken and I went to, that the Steam partners will be including a Steam controller with their machines when they ship. Which I guess we'll just go ahead and talk about that. So we went to that. Was that pretty much it?
Yeah.
So we went to the Valve press conference. It wasn't really a press conference, but Gabe in was there and talked.
Said we have 13 Steam machines. Here they are.
Yeah, and that's pretty much all he said. I mean, whatever. What's he got to say?
I don't have a title.
He doesn't.
Goodbye.
He doesn't need to prove anything. And he went out there and answered some questions, and then disappeared. And we went back to looking at the Steam machines, and then talking to their partners. And they had a bunch of demo machines up, so I got to use the controller. It's really weird, but it's really
It's
kind of
dual
nice.
touchpads, right?
It's dual touchpads, but
Haptic.
it has a haptic feedback to it as you move your thumb across it. It almost feels like tiny balls are underneath, and they kind of move and follow your thumb around.
That's
right?
weird.
And it's meant to make you aware that your thumb is moving. Because if it's a completely
Yeah, if it was
slick
just
surface,
nothing, yeah.
you may not notice that your thumb is moving unless you
need some kind of
so there's
yeah.
some kind of haptic feedback in it. It's actually pretty nice, and a great shout out to Brian Burke for fixing the controller for us when it was broken.
He unplugged it and plugged it back in.
He did do that. He
Turned it off
Way
and
to
back
go,
on
Burke.
again.
He's a master debater.
Yeah.
So the partners are including the controller.
Yeah,
One
and then
of
you'll
them.
be able to buy separately too.
How much is the controller?
They didn't say that. Somebody
They specifically
asked,
didn't say.
No.
They specifically asked Gabe, and he said, "We're not saying yet." And then they asked, "When are these going to be shipping?" And he said, "You need to talk to those system builders about when they're going to be shipping."
Okay.
So, that they're taking their typical kind of Valve stance, which is in reality, we know what the best way to do it is, and we could control everything, but we're just going to kind of let you guys figure this out along with us. And he went out there and he had a very good couple of minute speech about the value of openness, and making good comments about we feel that if NVIDIA makes a better graphics card, it encourages developers to make better games. If we make better games, it encourages people to buy better graphics cards, and it's this cyclical, kind of symbiotic relationship between developers and gamers and software, hardware, and gamers.
Sure.
That kind of all mix in. And he says the openness is what makes that possible. And if closed systems like Windows or the consoles restrict that. So and somebody made a comment. It was a real smart ass dickish question that came out. It was like Microsoft just announced that they've sold 3 million Xbox Ones already. Do you think that's something you'll be able to match by the end of the year? And Gabe very quickly, very snarkily says, well, they have a little bit of catching up with us to do because we have 65 million Steam users, and we had 6 million concurrent at one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the
7 million they achieved last
was
week.
it 7? Okay.
7.
Yeah. I know. He had a couple of those stats, rolling off there, and it was cool to see, and it was good to. I mean, there were a lot of people up there.
We knew they had 7
Trying out.
million concurrent last week because I tried downloading
Yeah,
Steam.
because Steam
now.
didn't work.
Yeah.
But
They had to. Gabe had to call Amazon and be like, "Hey, just turn on some more, I guess."
to give us all of the
We need more megawatts.
Yeah. So it was cool, but I mean, nothing huge, right? I'm not going to walk through every single Steam machine that was announced. If you go to pcper.com/CES, you'll see that CyberPower announced theirs. It's kind of got a cool look to it. There are some that are AMD based. There are some that are Intel based. There are some that are, most of them were NVIDIA based. But the Gigabyte Bricks Pro is a Steam machine. We had, I see we got a little bit on that. We'll talk about in a second. Main Gear, they are a partner. They weren't on the list for some reason. They were left off the press kit.
Aww.
I felt really bad. iBuyPower has theirs. There were, what was there, 12? 13 partners?
13 with main gear.
13 with Main Gear. So it was good to see, but there was no dramatic news that came out of it. They didn't announce like all of these will be shipping in March, or the controller will be for sale for $75 on April 10th, right? Which is something that I was hoping we would get out of the event, but they're taking it slowly. They did say somebody asked how the feedback was from those 300 beta testers, and Gabe said that it's all been really positive, and in fact, it's been too positive. We've kind of been poking them, trying to give us things that they want us to improve and change, because
I could come up with some things.
we don't want people to just sit on it and
They should have
think
sent
that's
it to
perfect.
us.
Yeah, I would have given them, hey, the installer sucks.
Well, you wouldn't have used the installer if you guys
The
did.
installer
Right, that's what I'm saying.
deletes
But
your data.
they're going to distribute it that way. So it's just like the installer deletes everything.
Ship it.
That's fine. That's good. So that was Valve. We'll leave that to Alan. You got to see the Bricks Pro.
I saw basically everything Gigabyte had up, but the big deal for them was the Bricks Pro. They had one torn down, and
That's such a great name.
yeah,
It's a great name. It really is, because it's Colin Bricks,
And
which
he's
is his name,
professional.
and
and it looks like a brick.
It looks like a brick.
You can make little
So
houses
it's-
out of them.
It's great. Anyway, so this is
Expensive houses.
This is the Pro, and it comes with the Iris Pro graphics.
Yep,
And
it's
it has
all-
room for a 2.5-inch hard drive in it.
It does.
It comes with a 1 terabyte, 2.5 inch hard drive.
Yeah, it does.
No MSATA by default, but
I kind of have some reservations about it being upside down on the top of the case. But
hard drive?
Yeah.
That matters, really?
laptops do that
It's a
all the
fluid
time.
bearing. I don't know if they like being upside
Yeah,
down.
it's true. Laptop hard drives are
They're always
a
upside
lot
down.
on
Yeah, that's true,
laptops.
that's true.
So
Anyway, but yeah, well, it looks like a, pretty cool box.
You got a
It's-
price?
It's heavy.
it is pretty dense.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the housing of it is pretty thick steel in the first place, and then there's a bunch of tech jammed in there. So
It's taller than the bricks that we saw initially. It's
Yeah,
got
they had
space
some
for
of the shorter
It's got
ones.
space for more stuff in it. Like you can have an MSATA and a 2.5-inch hard drive in it.
It's like a double din.
It's like a double bricks.
it's pretty much.
double D bricks. Wait, no, that's XFX.
And I mean, it looked like it can crank out some decent graphical performance given its size.
Yeah, I mean they're selling it as a Steam machine.
Yeah.
right. So it's got to have at least some. I have yet to really get a whole bunch of time with an Iris Pro machine, so I'm waiting on them to send me one for that exact purpose.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. And I think we have a meeting with Gigabyte tomorrow as well. So
And they had one of those LED projector things too. They're kind of all over the
bricks with
place.
the projector. Oh no,
Yeah.
like separate standalone,
Yeah.
or bricks with the projector integrated.
Oh, was it? A unit that had
you
that?
were showing me the bricks with the projector integrated. We have one of those at the office that we need to
Yeah, I haven't
Yeah,
really
look at.
started using it yet.
That's a machine.
Oh, that
as
is a
well.
whole machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole machine.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
It's tiny. I just don't. We'll have to see what the brightness output is on it. It's not great, but it's a
Yeah,
tiny
in
machine.
person, it was kind of like if the room was dark, it'd probably be decent. But,
Yeah.
In a pinch.
Josh went to the AMD press conference.
I did.
What they announced?
Oh, geez, really? They talked about Kaveri. Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Lisa Sue got up there, and it was actually a pretty decent presentation.
Okay.
She did talk about a little bit about Kaveri, what they wanted to do with the entire kind of computing area. Talked a little bit about HSA and True Audio and those things. And she didn't get too redundant with everything that we knew.
That's always a
talked
plus.
to some other developers and people who are doing stuff, and did it in a little bit more effective way than we saw at kind of the tech days. I'm trying to think what else. I should have gotten some notes. I did write them down, but they're on my laptop.
It's way over
Not
there.
on the
Not
on the camera. No, but I'll be still writing a bunch of that up, and they had a lot of little interesting demos. They talked about Bima and
Mullins.
Mullins.
Man, those are great names. Not
Eh.
really. Not really. That was
Yeah.
a joke.
They're never
And,
great names.
Yeah,
Bobcat Jaguar. That was kind of cool.
Bulldozer.
Steamroller. Anyway.
excavators next, but yeah, they talked to some of the partners like Microsoft Studios. Have Project Spark? Have you heard of that?
That's a Xbox One thing.
And it's also PC, and it's kind of going to be a huge competition to Minecraft, because not only can you kind of
They
build
hope.
these world, did they?
Well, I'm sure they hope it'll be competition.
Oh,
with
they
Minecraft.
hope. I thought you said Minecraft helped.
Oh,
with
no,
this.
no, no.
No, not only can you build worlds, but people are building their own games with it. And so, like, somebody built old-time Space Invaders.
Nice.
Yeah, and it was kind of interesting to see. So, software stuff, it's coming out. They're really pushing. They're being aggressive. And, they're excited about Kaveri. They think it's going to do well. That they're going to, increase their install base of APUs by a pretty good percentage by 2015. And they've had, some pretty decent quarters lately, even though they can't announce what Q4 was looking like for them quite yet.
This past Q4. Right. Actually, I heard that several times this week already. I wish I
Yeah.
could tell you about Q4, but
Can't do it.
not allowed. Not
Yeah.
allowed.
So infrastructure's there.
Is a kind of a poorly timed press conference, right? Because we know Kaveri's coming soon.
yeah,
So
14.
they didn't announce a whole bunch of data about it, right? They just kind of like, hey, here's the thing.
They actually showed it playing Battlefield 4, and the guy said, it is 45% faster than in Direct 3D, and
So
that
the
meant
mantle-
Showed it with the
frame-
mantle.
The mantle
Mantle.
version was
Okay.
45% faster than the
Direct
DirectX
3D.
version.
Yeah. So it it would look pretty good. It was running at 50 frames per second.
The mantle version?
Yeah.
How did they show you that?
There were the statistics up top.
Oh, the integrated
Running.
Battlefield statistics.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, it looked okay.
I think if you're interested in could vary, you will have more information pretty soon. So just wait for that.
Yeah.
So I talked about Valve. We saw Lucid. Again, they're hawking some software that integrates with Android on tablets. It attempts to save power by limiting the draw rate of the GPU if it's running faster than it needs to. That's their goal, right? So if a game is rendering at 80 or 90 hertz frames per second, well, you're wasting power because
Sure.
you're only drawing to the screen 60 times a second. It's a 60 hertz panel. Then can we throttle some of that back? They're not changing clock speeds. They're not throttling the hardware. They're like kind of slowing down, or they're like intercepting the draw calls and
Kind of
looping
pacing them
back.
out.
Yeah, they're pacing them out differently, right? So the idea is pretty good. The demo they had was interesting. They had them hooked up. They had two Galaxy Note
Threes.
3s hooked up to power meters, and they had like cables going into the back of them where they had intercepted the power coming from the battery to the device and
Sure.
hooked up the couples to it, and they were measuring amperage on the flukes. And obviously theirs was running at lower power, but I could tell that the frame rate was worse.
Yeah.
On their version.
Which is concerning considering this is the way the Note 3 ships and you can't disable it.
Yeah, you can't. It's not a software enable
It's just
feature.
baked in to the
So
ROM.
I'm very curious about it because I asked specifically. I was like, is this something that an OEM can like set parameters on? Right? We want you to be this aggressive. We want you to be this not aggressive.
Sure. Because if it has a huge battery and you don't care, then
Right.
know.
And it's completely up to them, right? Lucid kind of licenses the software. They kind of tell them, here's how we recommend you integrate it. And then Samsung says, okay, we can turn it on. We'll move this knob here, and that'll allow us to save this much power. And the problem is, if they're too aggressive, you'll get subpar
Yeah.
gaming quality
Chucky monkey.
at the benefit of power life or battery life, right? And I'm
It'd be
afraid
a
that
cool
companies
thing if
like
you could
Samsung,
toggle it yourself.
yeah, I agree. Like if you could toggle it and like you could adjust the slider yourself, like be really aggressive. Just give me the total maximum battery you can, right? And it'll slow your frame rate.
And it doesn't let you play the game.
Yeah,
Probably.
but I'm afraid that people might integrate this only so they can get better battery life
Benchmarks.
results in reviews while gaming, right? Because
Samsung would never do that.
Yeah, Samsung would never adjust their code specifically for that. It's a really cool stuff. We've got a video on it. We'll see what came out of the video, and we'll talk about it some more because they also showed a demo of it working in like a web browser scrolling, where like in the action of scrolling, it was using less
Yeah,
power.
and that didn't seem to be
And
sluggish.
it was a little like I could tell the frame rate is a little bit lower, but in that case, you're much less likely to care as
Yeah.
opposed when you're playing a game. So it's interesting tech. It's not something that's like end consumer purchasable. It's all licensing into these OEMs. So we'll see how that turns out for them. And then the last thing we did was go to digital experience, Wizard of Oz.
Yep.
Did you guys feel like Toto?
I think the flying monkeys grabbed my camera.
They did.
Oh, that's the
I felt
worst.
like Africa by Toto.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Probably more accurate.
The most
Okay.
important thing we got, that caused all of our problems or causes Josh problems,
Yep. Might as
is
well
we
show
got this. There was a company called Bitdefender, and they make antivirus software,
it. As evidenced
and
by.
they're Romanian.
Romanian.
They're a Romanian company, and they're giving out these flasks
Yeah.
with their logo on. That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also inside is antivirus water
Yeah.
or vodka,
It kills everything.
right? So they're giving out.
Now I get the
flasks.
connection. Now I
Yeah.
get it.
Do you
Yeah.
get it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
They were giving out stainless steel flasks, 7-ounce flasks, with vodka in them, and they also had a Haagen-Dazs ice
I'm
cream.
not sure that was them
That's
or
not
digital
them. That was just
experience,
digital
but
experience. Haagen-Dazs ice cream.
ideal booth location.
Yeah.
Don't leave your flask there.
Oh, I will. Somebody
Kentucky
else, somebody
flask.
flying monkeys will take it.
Flying.
Did we see anything interesting at PepCom Digital Experience?
We did.
You saw the IOSafe guy.
Yeah, we got there's a new IOSafe that they launched today. So we reviewed IOSafe N2, which was like the 2-bay Synology NAS inside of a fireproof box. And then before that, we reviewed just the regular IOSafe, which was
Not
just
an S.
one hard drive in a box, not a NAS. You had to connect it to something else to make it a NAS, right? So now you go back the other direction much further, and now they have a 5-bay Synology. What model is it? I think it's actually the Synology 1513 Plus, and they're calling it the IOSafe 1513 Plus because it's the IOSafe around that Synology box, which is like a good performing 5-bay.
The picture I'm looking at, the one on the left, is on fire.
Yeah, the one on the
no,
left,
I'm sorry.
was on fire.
was on fire and was thrown in water, and then the drive.
We got to put it. You got to put the fire out somehow.
Yes, the
I
fire
think
was
they
put
threw
out.
it in the water first, and then set it on fire. Because after that fire, it probably cracked things, so water would get in.
It, on the outside, yeah.
Well, yeah. So
Not the inner cage though, because the inner cage stays relatively cool.
It's kind of the point.
That's protected by the consumable ceramic, plasticky, watery
Yeah.
material in the middle. But
How much is that going to run me?
I don't know. We didn't get a price.
10 grand.
It's probably going to be kind of up there.
Not 10 grand though.
Well, I think
Think about the amount of people who need this device.
this is
It's not
really
a lot.
really high end. This is like you want your on-site
Oh.
backup to be disaster proof, and you need like a 5-bay kind of a RAID
Alright.
for it, right? So
Going
it's
from
kind of
the gap between 2 to 5 is kind of
it's kind of a big jump.
Yeah.
But they probably had a lot of people, business side people, saying, "Hey, we need much more than
Yeah.
2 bays." So they probably just chose to go straight to 5. And not only that, but I believe you can chain up to 3 of those guys together, and it treats it as one common storage pool. Like you can link them with gigabit
Sure.
across each other. So I think the total you can plug into it in one array with like 6 terabyte drives was 90 terabytes. So you basically have a little farm of 3 of these guys with 90 terabytes.
that's a lot of terabytes.
That's a lot of terabytes to have fireproof. Like that's pretty, that's pretty
Just
up
what
there.
I needed.
So
Considering what we do with raids, probably.
Yeah.
yeah, you need a 90 terabyte fireproof, disaster proof RAID. Actually,
Go with no. Anything else that we saw there?
there's that whatchamajigget, the new Linksys router that looks like a tank.
Yeah,
Looks like
they just made an 802.11 AC.
Take a WRT 54G
Yeah.
and make it into a tank.
They just use the same blue and black kind of design.
It's cool looking.
It's cool looking.
It is cool
but-
looking.
I'd buy one just for that.
It's well, I was talking to the guy for a while. It's Marvell. It's Marvell Radio Tech inside of it.
Okay.
Sure.
So you're not so much caught with the whole, Broadcom or Atheros or whatnot. Sometimes either one of those guys are kind of like a closey source on their stuff, right? So this guy is supposed to be right off the bat open WRT compatible,
Cool.
which means it's just a matter of days before all the other guys, Tomato and everybody else, can just port it over, right, and have their own firmware for it, which is kind of important for some people. And then it's supposed to be like over 1 gigahertz processor inside of it. It's going to be like
does
way
it play
overkill.
Crisis?
This is like definitely the overkill. There's a fan in it.
Good.
Okay.
Well,
A lot of
of
people.
them need it. Yeah.
A lot of people had to mod their 54Gs with
Yep.
fans.
The radios only support 3x3 MIMO, but there's 4 antennas, and the radios can choose which 3 antennas are working best.
That's
for
pretty
it,
cool.
like based on whatever kind of radio-y kind of things, right? I'm being technical today.
No, that's fine.
And then
Bits.
the cool thing is, so if the processor is really fast, then it could probably handle external storage that's pretty fast and connected like to the network, right? So not only do they have USB 3, but they have a eSATA port in the back, which is pretty snazzy, actually. So that it looks like a really really
It's
beefy
gonna be
router.
$400 router.
It's no $300.
$300?
Yeah, but this is like. Have you seen anything like this anywhere? I mean, really, this is gonna.
Yeah, it's WD. It was the 40 W45.
What?
It was 45 WRT. It looks just like it.
Really?
WRT 54G.
54G.
The 54G?
Yeah, it looks just like it.
Yeah, that had like 1/50th of the bandwidth of that guy.
Look, you said looks like it. And I'm telling you, it looks like it.
Well, okay.
They're not owned by Cisco anymore, are they? They're owned by Belkin.
I will say that
That happened.
Pretty sure. I could be wrong.
I don't know.
Pretty sure that happened.
Any other product I've seen, like Wi-Fi device that was actually 4 antenna and stuff like that, you're basically in enterprise level devices, and they're like several $1,000s.
But you're only using 3 antennas anyway.
Oh man,
Yeah, but
they should have called it the
so are they.
WRT 54
Okay,
AC.
you say so. You would know. I do not.
They have 4 badass looking antennas on
It's
it.
true. It looks badass.
It does.
They had a mini parrot drone. Capcom.
They did.
I,
it was hitting people.
It did do that.
Yeah. No,
yeah,
not the
I
best.
ran into it.
On purpose?
I was not paying attention. Apparently, I did that a lot during digital experience. And the guy, I hit it.
Oh.
It went screaming across the floor, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. And the guy's like, nah, it's my fault. I flew it into you.
You should
Like,
kick it.
all right.
Say thanks.
Thanks. Where's my camera?
Yeah, the drone took it away.
Yeah, other than that stuff, I mean, there were some neat things, but most of the component side stuff we've either already
Hey,
covered
you
or
saw
going
a
to
pretty
cover.
cool table there, didn't you?
Table?
Yeah, what was it called? The
Lift.
no,
From Skip.
Was it one of those stand-up table
Yeah.
things?
yeah, it was one that breathes.
What? Excuse me.
It breathes.
So when you're standing and it's been like 2 or 3 hours,
Uh-huh.
the motors will go up and down slightly, so you can feel it, and it will remind you that it's time to sit down now. Because the idea is you're only supposed to spend about 3 hours in either configuration.
So why
you're
doesn't it
standing.
just go down?
Well, because if you're in the middle of working, like
Maybe you don't want to right now. It's giving you a
in
subtle.
the middle
It's
of
just-
moving the mouse, and the table's like,
Well, it doesn't go
no,
like that.
it breathes. It does
It goes-
one
Like
one
kind of
fluid
it'll go
motion.
oh.
right. It's a very subtle
Yeah.
thing.
I'm not sure how I feel about my table breathing.
You can turn it off. I'm sure it has a smart screen on it.
Yeah.
The problem is it was $3,900.
Oh, yeah, I
But
think yours
that
is a
motor
better
was
deal.
so smooth.
It was.
Like when they hit the button to have it go down, like it was so cool looking. It was so cool looking.
It was like the future.
It was like the
It was?
future. I wish I could remember what the hell it was called.
What's it look like? Yeah.
Like a table.
So what was so cool?
We just talked about like
A table moves.
the smooth.
It had a
smoothness
touch.
of the
It had a
motor.
touch screen
Had a
with
touch screen on
with a display that showed you your timing of standing
Like,
up
chat
and
room's
sitting
gonna know
down.
what that thing's called, right?
Oh.
It was they're not even paying attention.
I thought it was like Skip or something.
It was one word,
company.
certainly.
Yeah, it wasn't lift or anything like that. It was just a little bit quirkier than that, but
I think this portable battery thing's getting a little out of hand.
everybody has a portable battery.
There's a company that had a 12,000.
Oh, that's not the highest I've seen.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of up there, though.
What?
Like, that's totally,
Stir?
jumpstart your car.
Stir, that's what it is.
That's a terrible name, but
It's Stir. Standing desks Stir. It's the kinetic desk. So that's how you know it's cool, because it's not just a
Kinetic.
desk. I don't... What?
What?
anyways,
Offers. You hit an offer and not.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure I didn't. Anyway, so Stir was the name of it, and it was really cool, except it was $3,900, and if you bought it today,
it would ship in March.
it wouldn't ship until March. So there's that.
That's nice.
Is it? I wish I had one, but I'm not going to pay any money for it. Yeah,
Yep.
there we go.
Hey, there it is.
Just have Alan build you one.
You built
It's
your
got-
own,
it's got
and
a
it was
touch
pretty
screen.
good. You
Yeah,
did a
but
whole
it's not
review.
adjustable.
Oh.
It's adjustable, but it takes a lot of time.
Oh, so
Lip-
just the legs extend?
Yeah.
Okay, so that probably would.
What
look
did you
pretty
think
cool.
happened? The tabletop extended?
That's just 2 linear servo motors.
Yeah, it's just that. You're right.
That's just all it is.
That's all it is.
You can.
That's what I said.
We
No.
can make that.
No, absolutely.
We'll do it.
I'm doing it.
Yeah. We'll make a pool table like that.
It's got integrated AC.
you would have to
USB
change
ports on it,
the
too.
feed on your table because they're currently in an A configuration.
No, that's true.
That's true. Don't do that.
Yeah.
So that pretty much wraps up what we saw at CES today. Tomorrow, if you want a little preview of who we're going to meet with, it's nobody. We're going to go see
Sweet.
Gigabyte. We're going to see Micron. We're going to see NVIDIA. We're going to see Allwinner, Western Digital, OCZ, Corsair, Cooler Master, Western Digital again, apparently.
And a partridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm missing one in here. We're gonna see
There's some other ones. There's another
Samsung.
There's Samsung again. Josh is going to go see.
Silverstone. It's a busy day tomorrow. It's a busy day tomorrow. And so with that, we're gonna wrap up our show. Ken is gonna wake up and edit this show.
Yeah.
We're all gonna write for another 3 hours.
No rest for the wicked.
And we'll be great. It'll be great. So again, thanks everybody who joined us. I know it's very late.
Or not.
It's pretty late. It's 3:24 at home, and it's
It's
12:24 here.
Not everyone lives in America, right?
I don't understand what you said. I don't. America. So again, thanks for everybody. I see some of you guys in the chat room are still hanging out. I saw somebody earlier say, "I woke up in the middle of the night and a podcast was on."
A wild podcast.
A wild
appeared.
podcast appeared. Yes, that's great. I will ask, if you guys have any requests, you can put them in the chat. I'll watch chat for a few more minutes about tomorrow. But yeah, we're going to meet with NVIDIA. We'll ask them about HDMI 2.0, H.265, 4K, G-Sync, and stuff like that. Yeah, the podcast causes us to drink too, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be back tomorrow with another special CES edition in this wonderful
Podcast.
Oh my god.
Perdcast. Oh, and we may have a guest on Wednesday.
True.
It's a secret, but we may have a guest on Wednesday. We'll have to make room. Josh will have to move his feet someplace else.
Something like
He's
that.
just going to be laying across all of our laps.
Could be a she.
No, it couldn't.
No, we wouldn't be.
You're right.
Yeah. We get
Let's
in a lot
end
of
the
trouble.
show, guys.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye.